Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's The Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
Welcome back to another episode of False Alarm. This is The Good Brothers. That's Mike. I'm Alex, and I am the goodest of brothers, and that's just the okay brother.
I thought we were about to do a crossover / big time.
Is
movie
this a
event,
crossover?
But it is not. What is going on here, brother? We will be doing a crossover special, hopefully next week, when the lovely Nicole Mancha finishes up her run of Game of Thrones, as you and
I'm locking her out.
Get ready to finish up the series finale this weekend. But on today's episode, we review episode 5 here on The Good Brothers.
Spoiler alert, we think it's one of the best episodes ever.
The Good Brother got to see Detective Pikachu without me, so
Big
he gets to talk about one of the greatest pop culture characters with Ryan Reynolds included. John Wick 3 is about to shoot up the movie theaters in the box office records, and everything else
that came out so bad.
Can grab. It only came out bad because you sold it bad.
I had to.
We have some cool news about Mr. Ratburn that I want to get into. Season finales are all around us. Some fishy news coming out of Disney and a certain movie that's coming out in a few weeks. We will talk about that in just a little bit. And Disney has been staying busy with The Simpsons, Hulu. Rick and Morty is coming out with a new season. And Alex, a certain company is bringing back wrestling for Eterna. But before we get to all that, let's get to Westeros. So a spoiler alert. A spoiler alert for Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 5. The bell rings, the ringing bells, whatever the hell they're calling it. We're calling it Daenerys Goes Crazy. Alex, we could go beat by beat. I think that's been done to death. So what I want to go to is, after all the chatter has happened, after everybody's talked about it, dissected, everybody's given their opinion, to you, why was it a great episode?
I'll be honest, I don't think it's a great episode. I think it's one of the best episodes in the entire series. I think it's almost perfect, and maybe that's like The Last Jedi in me coming out, where it's like it was above Game of Thrones. It was just fantastic television to the point of it made sense. You have, I started tearing up at the Tyrion and Jaime part.
One of the best scenes.
And I was like, maybe I sat there, I was like, maybe it's because I have a brother. Maybe it's because this. But for him to finally admit, like when you're the kid brother, big brother, like, I know I'm an asshole, but you were there for me. Like, you took care of me when no one else did. I sat there like a sobbing mess, like, it was so good.
Did Peter Dinklage guarantee the Emmy after that scene?
The guy that plays Jaime is really good this season. Yeah. So anyway, like, I guess so that part, I was sold. Varys dying, he had to die. He's a scumbag.
But I think the most important thing, again, we can go beat by beat. I don't really want to go beat by beat.
I know, I was just saying, but like, the acting was phenomenal in it. It all made sense. Now, I know people's biggest issue, we'll hit it right now. They think Dany has gone way too far. And I am one of those people that I watched every episode as I was watching a new season. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm pretty up to date. Like, I'm one of those people who, like, I'm very fresh in the mind. Guys, they've been planning this for quite a bit. Like, even season 3-ish, where she takes advantage and Dracarys is the first guy when they're baby dragons. I'm like, I could have saw this coming. I think if you didn't, you got fooled by a pretty lady.
I think the biggest problem is, and I think it's the only legit argument against this season, it is rushed in the sense that it should have been more than 7 episodes last season, and it should have been more than 6 episodes this season. It should have been more than 13 episodes to finish the last 2 seasons. It should have. I look at it, you can say, like, it doesn't matter that they hit their beats. The fact is they got from point A to point D. They just skipped C. I think that's the problem. Is they earned it. We did get 7 seasons and 4 episodes to lead it. I get that. Yeah. But with that in mind, because Game of Thrones is known for really going into detail at every turn, while it might be earned in this case, they do give you a little bit more leading into it. My big thing is, this is why I don't think it hurt me as much. While, yes, I could agree and understand the perspective of wanting more episodes in the last 2 seasons, to me, the reason why I don't feel that way, I don't feel like I lost anything, I was prepared, just like Endgame, knowing this was it. They only have 6 episodes, so I knew they were going to have to sacrifice certain things to get us from point A to point B to point C.
Like,
to
no
point
offense.
B.
Like, I've had 7 seasons I'm planning, walking through the one. It's going to take us 2 days.
Yeah,
and previous seasons, we'd have to watch those 2 days, and maybe a raid will happen. Maybe a dragon will come. And that's fine. We get great scenes. We're going to get scenes regardless. I think it's perfect timing. I take it as in Breaking Bad the last few seasons, where we didn't see them running from the cops as much. We didn't see them. Because we're above that. We're like, no, they know the cops are an issue. We're just seeing them stack up cash because that's what they're doing. They've earned that right. I don't need to see them go to the RV anymore or make meth because I already know they're billionaires doing it. Same thing here is like, I don't need them to see them travel. I don't need to see little battles. They just took out the Night King. No. I want to see her burn this bitch down.
No, this is what my theories. One, I think people work themselves into a shoot. I think people for the last 2 years sat there creating their own fan theories, their own headcanon, and when it did not go exactly as they wanted, they turned on it. 2, it is not lazy writing. Lazy writing is what you see on shows that last 6 episodes. Yes. This is some of the greatest writing you'll ever see on television, period. Whether it went your way or not, that's not the conversation.
I think what happened is that they said, we're going to give you fan service off season, and the moment they turn back to this is old school Game of Thrones. Totally. Where your favorite character either dies or changes, I think they got confused because you've got fan service all year, like they killing this Arya, this. And for the first moment, they're like, oh, the character you liked didn't turn out to be so good. And like now we're pissed, and it's like, guys, that's why it's good writing, is because I didn't see that necessarily. I saw it coming, but that's because it was my guess. But I think overall, we didn't think she'd go so far into her heel turn where you're like, John has to kill her now.
Let me ask you this, and I don't want to get into I don't want to put ourselves into any traps, but you have the awesome Ashley Robinson and the awesome Roxy Stryer from Stryer. Okay, I want to make sure I get it right. Roxy Stryer, that they work for Collider, and they both talk about this exact issue about Game of Thrones being very bad with women. And Roxy goes one way and be like, no, the women have been the focal point of this whole show, whether they've had bad or good things for them.
It goes, I think, Tyrion, then like several women characters.
And then Ashley's like, no, they've always written bad women, and they've essentially got rid of every woman in this season. And to me, I feel like, again, we're projecting ourselves into this. Look at, they're not creating this. The guy who wrote the book, the one that everybody loves in R.R. Martin right now, it's his fault that they deviated from the books. He never finished the book.
Well, actually, they found out the news came out today. That they're working together, guys. They're not portraying it like he just finished the book. But they talked about the ending. Like, we might change little details in a face or scar or a height of someone or even a dialogue or even a whole genre, but they talking to each other. He trusts them. He likes it. He knows how this ends. I think it's good. I think to say that women are doing, like, Arya is probably the most badass character in this thing.
She's my favorite character in
and
the series.
Between her scene with the Hound, again, tears, because you're like, the Hound is one of the best. It's just crazy.
What did you think about the Brother Bowl, the clay ball bowl?
The what?
Between Mountain and Hound.
I thought it was great.
How awesome.
It was so good. And it was such a fitting ending that, like, died. Like, he had to go. And I love how he tells her, you can't stay here because the best line, do you want to be me? And then you're like, damn.
Okay, so.
It was so good. One question. Did you know that Bran's the horse, right? Did you know that?
You know what? I never assumed it. You know what I assumed?
I didn't assume it either until I read the article and they said he's the horse. I was like, oh,
that makes sense. What I assumed was this was her sign to go. Whatever was going on through Arya's mind at that moment. That's the sign she was looking for.
Do you think she's writing to go kill?
I look at. Okay, let's go. All right, before we get into to episode 6, the series
okay.
Let's finish up episode 5 in this sense. Everybody's had their thoughts about the episode. Everybody's talked about John, Daenerys, all this. Give me the score. Out of 10, the penultimate episode, what do you give episode 5 of season 8, the final season of Game of Thrones? You know what? I'm going to give it a 9. It's my second favorite episode of the season. I still like episode 2 of the season when they're all just drinking beer and they're by that fire. To me, is probably the best thing I've ever seen on television. Yeah. That moment, that calmness, it was almost like before we've said it.
I think this is my favorite episode of the season. I think this is one of my top 5 episodes.
Battle of the Bastards still seems to.
I don't know why, and I rewatched it, and it really shouldn't. But it
It
does.
does, yeah. For some reason, like,
And I don't get it either. I
It's
really
shot
don't
beautifully.
get it.
Maybe it's because we fool ourselves with how
Because
beautiful it is.
I'll be honest, it's not. It's one of those things where like its subtlety is good. Its quietness is what makes it
But
special.
you know what I think it is, though? The only time, and I shouldn't say the only time, one of the times where Jon Snow was legit not just a nobleman, not just the hero of the story, but a badass, was when Ramsay is pulling the arrows and he just pulls the shield and is walking through, and it's like
he's such a hard
I'm going to beat your ass.
Like, I'm gonna fuck you up. Dude.
Yeah, it wasn't a you're not gonna kill me. Yeah. You're not gonna get any shots off. Nobody here is gonna help you. I'm gonna get to you, and I'm going to hurt you. And that was the only time that Jon ever had that moment in the series for me. And that's why I think that episode stuck to me. And the reason why Arya has become my new favorite character was not just because of what happened with NK at Battle of Winterfell. It was that episode, and then what happened in this episode while she's going through
her humanity's back. Like you can tell, like she's not just a faceless
but she's
killer.
vulnerable. We see her get her ass kicked. We see her going through Winterfell. We see her going through King's Landing, being blown up, being tossed around.
That's why I say Arya's probably the best character, and I love Jon Snow. Jon Snow's too perfect for this world.
Jon Snow's Luke Skywalker.
Like Jon Snow is like an angel. You're like you're too perfect for this world. Like I know you're gonna die because you don't deserve to live in this. You're an angel, Jon. She's so not an everyone, but she's an everyman. Where like, as much of a badass and well-trained athlete she is, or warrior, she's vulnerable. She's human.
Yeah,
she's a child, even, and she has feelings and she thinks, and she's actually. I think she's smarter because she's not just loyal to be loyal. She looks at the further plan. And that's why Arya is probably my favorite character.
I agree. Arya's my favorite character.
And I love that she's not on brand and they're writing somewhere where they're writing to. I'll be like, if that does that it for episode 5?
Why don't we get into it? Let's get into.
I think she's writing to get to Sansa because I think Sansa knew this was going to happen and is going to be ready. I think Sansa, regardless of Jon, is ready to go to war with Daenerys and get her while she's down, and Jon's going to be the one that stabs her in the back.
So let's go ahead, officially let everybody in here at the studio. We have the Deadpool board set up. We have been crossing it out.
Deadpool!
And Alex, we have come down to it. The Iron Throne, whether it exists or not, whether the prophecies, the visions have all come true. It was Ash in the Iron Throne. Will she see Jason Momoa and the baby that was born at death? Will she survive? Is it Daenerys? Is it Jon Snow? Not. Is it Arya? Is it Tyrion? Is it Sansa? These are the players now left. There's also rumors that in the books, when a time jump happens, the leader and the house that has the Iron Throne is not in play right now. So there's that from the source material. We have all these questions have been answered, but we still have the biggest question of them all. Who is the final ruler and on the Iron Throne? And you just said you couldn't help yourself by blurting it out that it's not going to be Daenerys.
It won't. She's dead.
So, who is it?
The Starks.
Which Stark?
All of them. There's no Iron Throne. It's going to be the table of the Starks. I think your vision of leaders of the free world comes back to the very beginning. Ned Stark is the proper ruler. When the King Baratheon died, Ned was being charged. Cersei threw that out. Ned from the battles should have been in charge, but he didn't want it. And I think it's going to go Jon sitting next to Sansa, sitting next to Bran, sitting next to Arya. The Starks are ruling the free world with Tyrion there. But you know what? I'm going to say that there because I think Tyrion's going to kill Dany. I think he's the Kingslayer like his brother.
That's interesting twist.
I think at the end of the day, that's going to be the only one because I can see the Starks running away and Tyrion going down with her.
I believe we are going. It's what I said last week. The Iron Throne will be done by the end of this episode, and I think it's going to be ruled by a Baratheon and a Stark. I think it might be Arya and Gendry and
Gimli actually do it. Who do you think's alive with them?
It's between Tyrion and Sansa together, or our new power couple with Arya. I think that's what it ends up being. The scary thing is I could see Arya going after Dany, and the reason why we get Jon versus Dany is because
he chooses his family.
He needs to protect his family.
God, I like that too, Mike. Jon doesn't live, does he?
Jon and Daenerys both die.
You made me just change my mind.
Jon and Daenerys both die.
But Jon's going to have to turn on her.
The real question is does Jon get fire thrown at him by Drogo? But
wouldn't he survive because he's technically one of them?
That's where we find out whether he's the ruler. Like, that's where it all comes together.
Fun stuff.
So,
God, I'm excited.
I don't know. That's what I said. Like, as many answers as they've given us, we don't know anything about this last episode. And you know what? It's only going to be an hour and 20 minutes. So
I'll be honest. I thought the length times have been fine. Honestly, like
it still goes to the point where I think we could have used another episode or two,
maybe,
just in general.
Maybe.
But
I'll see how it ends,
yeah.
And then I'll see if we needed 7 at least.
So now that we're here, I think regardless, people were ready to hate on this season. I think there was just too much time in between season 7 and season 8. I think most people binge watch the show having to live through it week by week is hurting some people.
Let's be honest. A show like Game of Thrones is not coming around the new social media era. And I think they said it best. Had Lost come out during this time.
Sopranos.
Had Breaking Bad. Even Breaking Bad, that was 8 years ago only?
Yeah.
Come out during this modern social media time. We'd be hearing a bunch of bullshit about the finale. Oh, Walt's not really dead. Jesse got... That's so stupid. That's not what Walt would have done. People it's just the world we live in. And I think at this point, that's why they say, as long as you're talking about us and doing whole hour shows for us, we're doing something right. Yep. We live in a media where, no shit, we're going to get 50-50 because there's a billion people. So it's very easy to find 500 bajillion people saying, I hate this, and another 500 saying, I love it. What was the greatest quote Chris Hart said? If A New Hope came out today, if Attack of the Return of the Jedi came out today, Empire came out today, they would be split movies.
Of course. I mean, John Campea made the joke when he was talking about people sending in their questions about lazy writing and Mary Sue's and so on and so forth. It's just fandom. But again, I said, to me, I wrote the joke. The only thing that we can all agree on, no matter what your side of this season is that we all hate people who go out of their way to tell us they don't watch Game of Thrones because everybody else is watching it. But you know what, good brother? I've had a lot of fun watching this series with you.
It's one of the best series ever.
I've had a lot of fun getting Nicole into this series. I've had a lot of fun talking about this on our show. It's been kind of crazy that Game of Thrones and Avengers has been such a big part of this show, and now both of them kind of had certain conclusions. One a definite one, one in its own saga, and then we do know that there's going to be the prequel Game of Thrones shows and whatever's going to happen moving forward.
No, remember they canceled the prequel shows.
Oh, there's still talk. There's something in development right now. That it was literally a big conversation that was going on with George R.R. Martin that there's currently 3 stories being in development.
Oh, in development. Yeah. Okay, well, how about this? They canceled the ones that they announced already. The prequels of the Baratheons and the Starks and all the young ones. They canceled that. So maybe after the finale they did. The problem is, you know why they canceled them? And we talked about it. You waited 2 years to put something out. Yeah. You can't work on a prequel when we don't have the last season. I don't I agree. Now you could probably go back in the talks and be like, okay, now we're hot again. You took off 2 years.
So why don't we do live production right now here, live pre-show meeting. Next week, what are we doing for the show? We have a few reviews that we're going to get into, or at least a few previews.
Probably an hour of Game of Thrones.
We're probably going to be very heavy of Game of Thrones next week.
Hour,
I would say it's probably going to. I would say we're going to do probably a news headline to start the show for the first 3 minutes. We'll pre-record something with all the headline news, and then we'll just kind of start rapping about Game of Thrones
as a franchise, as a genre, as a
next week.
conglomerate. Yeah, it's Game of Thrones next week,
guys. This is it. Make sure you guys are sitting in front of a TV. I don't know what WWE was thinking, scheduling a pay-per-view.
I have it on the background, in the background, I guess.
But you don't hear anybody else talking about anything else coming up this Sunday. It is all about Game of Thrones.
Let's be honest with WWE. They just sold their comic for $50 billion. They don't
but care. It's a barometer of that nobody scheduled anything. This coming up
nobody scheduled anything. WWE just does not care. They're like, guys, Fox already basically bought us, so screw you, I guess. I don't... Some of you will watch.
Absolutely. So we'll be here next week to break down everything that is the series finale.
Not Money in the Bank.
Of Game of Thrones. The good brother got to see Detective Pikachu. Good brother, what did you think about the lovely mouse Pokemon?
It was good. It was very good, very fun. Here's my review of the movie. And we're not getting spoilers because it's a Pokemon movie. It's not really spoilers. One, they added the Pokemon Detective Pikachu. So they're going to try to franchise, I believe. How they kind of do Marvel present Spider-Man, You can tell, because it wasn't in the marketing at first, and now it's very heavy, Pokemon, ... Detective Pikachu. Yeah. Because there's not going to be a sequel to Detective Pikachu. It's a one singular story. It's not a franchise.
Yeah.
But I think the point of this was to bring it back to say, because in this world, it's not a spoiler, the city we're in right now, Pokemon and people live together. That's the story. But in the rest of the world, it's the Pokemon world. There's battles, and there's gyms, and there's everything going on. So only in this one city, there's a cerulean city, there's gym leaders.
They lean into it.
Yeah, kids grow up. Well, they don't even describe. They're like they like do a quick video montage of like, well, this is, let's just call it big city, and in big city, Pokemon have jobs and they live with us. They don't have to battle, so the battles in the city are underground, like you see in the trailers. But in the rest of the world, Pokemon and trainers are still a thing.
Well, they lead into the video games in the rest of the
like
world.
the rest of the world's the video games.
Yeah.
This is just one specific city that they made up for the movie
For
of
the
like,
story.
oh, we all live together.
Yeah.
But Pokemon are Pokemon. Like you get them more as your friend, like you would a dog.
So this,
but they're more your equal. They're not battling. They're like Mowgli would be a Pokemon.
this is a freebie. They're letting you into it. They're giving you a taste
They're,
of what
they
the
set
world is.
you know what it is? They set you up. They're
Yeah,
like,
they're setting
is this
you up.
popular? Like, do people want Pokemon and like the actors? The acting was fine. Ryan Reynolds is a national treasure, and we must protect him at all costs.
I agree.
The Pokemon look fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. You're seeing the movie. That's a Mansion. That's a Snorlax. Is that Squirtle? Is he a part of this? He's a firefighter? That's awesome. I
Now,
get that.
let me ask you this, without giving them away, and obviously the preview gave away Mewtwo. I don't want to hear the storyline about him, but what I do want to know is,
Mewtwo's Mewtwo.
yeah, I get it. What I want to know is, are there surprise Pokemon? Not necessarily a surprise Pokemon.
No.
But are there surprise Pokemon?
No.
Like, oh, they actually involved him into the background. Oh shit, there's a Moltres.
No, not necessarily. Because remember, so let's say Ash Ketchum's story is canon.
Yeah.
Because of Mewtwo. This is 20 years after that.
So we're 20
Mewtwo's
years after
20
Red.
years old.
We're 20 years after Red.
Yes, think about Red. Yeah, let's use Red
We're
instead of
20
Ash.
yeah.
So Mewtwo's 20. So that's where we are in this world. So we haven't seen the rest, but I can tell they're trying to set it up. Here's my thing with the movie. It's very similar to the Power Rangers.
Okay.
And that's something, I don't say that in a positive way. I think the problem, what this movie does better, I'll get into, it's very similar in the sense where if you weren't a diehard fan, this movie is not trying to get you.
Sure.
And I think that's an issue with movies. I think Marvel finally cracked into Star Wars too sometimes where we need to get everyone. If you're not a fan, you'll find something you like.
This one,
Our dad
went
hates
to its
everything.
audience.
He likes some Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Like, you need to find something to get everyone. And I think the Power Rangers did a terrible job saying we're going to be retro and hip, but we want our old crowd. Like, they didn't know who they were playing to. It's my problem with the Power Rangers franchise, why they won't get a sequel. It's because I felt like if you want, you should have done where it was just only our generation would like it, but at least we'd like it and be on your side. Pokemon's smart. They said, listen, if you're a diehard Pokemon fan, the video games, the cards, the cartoons,
This is it.
you will love this, and you will have our backs. Guess what? They did, and it made money, and it did good, and it got enough. Obviously, most critics nowadays weren't born in the Pokemon genre, but even they gave it the whole, like, this is a fun kids movie. If you grew up with it, you grew up with it. Now, if you are I'll say this. If you're a diehard fan, you'll love the movie. You'll give it a good score. If you're a moderate fan, like you watch the cartoon but you weren't hard into it, you'll like it. If you don't like Pokemon, you'll hate the movie. Because a lot of references and jokes are from the movie. The battles, the characters they decide to use against each other even. The little lingo. You're like, oh man, like that's like I said, the Turtle Squad, you know, that's
Right.
Squirtle being a firefighter.
And it does have a 64% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is fine.
And
It's a
an 80
very good score.
And an 84 with the audience, which is just as important. It has made a lot of money, and it just goes to show that it is an IP that if it has what I've been saying, especially compared to the Sonic trailer, if it was taken with TLC, the Pokemon company, Nintendo, the company behind this stood behind it and put tender loving care into it, and they knew what good fan service was going to be for it, and then you could just see it from everything, from the marketing. They just got it. They understood it.
Can you find something out for me by next week? Yeah. So I saw the Sonic trailer. Have they already done upgrades? Because his eyes looked a lot different and more cartoonish, which I did enjoy, but I liked the Sonic trailer. I was tweaking because I was watching the Pikachu movie, and I saw the preview, and I was like, did they already?
They played
the Sonic trailer, the original, and I could have sworn, and maybe it's just because I really liked the trailer. I was like, did they already kind of fix him a little bit? Like, are they already throwing that out there? Like, let's fix his eyes. Okay, put the trailer out.
All right, as Alex is currently speaking, the good brother had me pull it up. I am checking it right now. Right now, Cyclops has picked up the little hair. We get the Paramount logo with the rings. Sega comes up. He is going through the forest. Gotta go fast. And he becomes a ball.
Oh, that is such an early 2000s cartoon reference. Man. Jesus.
So he still got long legs. Doesn't have any white except
Check
for
the
his
eyes.
arm.
Is it the eyes? Like, I felt like the eyes were already small.
You know what?
Maybe I just like the trailer then. Guys, I'll be honest. I like the trailer. I like
the trailer
Sonic.
was fine. Sonic looks doofus, but like
I
Sonic
thought
was
it
always
was
going to look
fine.
doofus.
It's a live action hedgehog, like physically.
By the way, nobody would say anything if you know what I think too is I bet you if his character design, if he were red, people would be cool because he does kind of look like Knuckles.
That's how Knuckles is gonna have to look.
That's how Knuckles is gonna have to look. It's like
with
Sonic.
the long legs.
Yeah. By the way, Knuckles is totally gonna be the post-credit scene of this movie.
What, like Venom? Do you want to bet on that? Because you said Carnage wasn't, and I won that bet.
Carnage was in it.
Yeah, I said he. Oh no, you said he was gonna be in the movie. I said he'll be the post credit.
No, I said he was gonna be his own movie. Remember my whole thing?
No. I won this bet.
All right, we're gonna go back to it, but for all you fans who have listened, please tweet at us. I thought the bet was, I think that they were gonna sell the sequel as Venom versus Carnage as a straight marketing thing. But I'll go back and listen.
No. It was the bet was you thought Carnage was gonna be the bad guy in the movie. Like, you thought he'd get there at the end. I said they're going to give him his own movie. I said he'd get his own movie.
He might have changed, by the way, good brother.
Really? Like, a little, right? Am I like...
If he did, it's very little.
But it's enough, because I thought it was much better.
Or at the very least, I mean, but this...
Maybe I think you're like me. I don't mind the trailer. I think it looks kind of fun.
You know what? His face looks a little skinnier in it. He looks a little bit more sharp.
We're going to look into it. We'll look into it for next week if they actually did some, like, CGI upgrades and we find out. But I swore, I was like, man, they made some upgrades.
If I told you that it had 369,000 thumbs up, how many thumbs down?
700,000.
So close, 658,000.
So more than half.
He still has teeth, though.
How else is he? He's always had teeth.
No.
I mean, not visible, but like we figured he would have it.
Yeah. All right, good brother. But so Detective Pikachu, go watch it if you're a fan of Pokemon.
Yeah, if you're a fan. If you're not a fan, skip it.
And speaking of some other stuff that is hitting the theater, Alex, a movie that a lot of people do believe will be the one that takes out Avengers Endgame as the #1 movie in the box office. Good brother, it is John Wick Part 3. How are you going to celebrate watching Keanu Reeves kick a bunch of ass?
You know what? I like those movies. Those movies are kind of hard theater movies for me because I would really like to watch them on my couch.
I love watching
maybe
those
with
in the
a
theater.
beer. I don't like watching them in the theater because they're just so. I need to be more. It's a different type of entertainment where I need a little more. I love the movies. I think it's a great franchise, but like I love those movies at home, like eating some food, having a beer, like just relaxing.
That's a good conversation I have maybe in a slow week where we decide what movies do we like watching at home opposed to theaters and vice versa.
Yeah.
But here's a conversation that I had in my group chat with some of the people that we play fantasy football with.
Old people.
You ready to hear the question? Which is better? Mind you, this is a group that they are right now, if I'm 29, they're all 39.
Yeah.
They asked which trilogy is better, The Matrix or John Wick?
Easy, John Wick.
I said the exact same thing. Our uncle was very much one who said The Matrix, and he said rewatch it. Now, mind you, because when he was our age, The Matrix was what around.
Here's my thing: The Matrix is the best movie of all 6 of those.
Literally,
it goes Matrix, John Wick 1, 2, 3,
the good
Matrix.
The good brother couldn't help but jump it for me because
had
that was
to.
the point
Yeah.
I was exactly gonna make is. Legitimately, The Matrix Part 1 is a top 50 film of all time.
Yes, easily.
Not even, and John Wick.
It made
none of
Keanu
the
Reeves'
three-
career.
Yeah, none of the 3 John Wick films are even on there. But as a trilogy,
Yes.
as a story, when you put 1, 2, and 3 in together, without a doubt, it's not even close. John Wick is the better trilogy than The Matrix. Now,
Easy.
and this is why I also believe too. While The Matrix may be the best movie of all 6, what's really important is John Wick was built upon what The Matrix did, and it just grew into it. And Keanu
It's the
Reeves
same
grew
stunt
it.
coordinators.
Yeah. And I think it was it's an interesting piece because you don't have John Wick without The Matrix.
No, yeah, and like same stunt guys. That's why it's a similar taste, and that's where the rumors of a Matrix,
The Wachowskis
remake was because the stunt coordinator for John Wick 3 was interviewed, and they told him, I've got in touch with them, and we have ideas. But yeah, it's like 3-on-1. Of course, Matrix wins. I love the Matrix. I
love The Matrix.
Holds up.
Yeah.
Still good.
I like
But,
Part 2.
I'll be honest.
Part 3
As a trilogy, 2 and 3 are so terrible. 3-on-1, yeah, it's a better
2
trilogy.
is not terrible. 2 is bad.
2 starts off fine.
Yeah, 2 starts out very fine, and it ends up really weird. 3 is bad.
Yeah. 2 is like Mission Impossible 3, where you're like, this is pretty good.
I like Philip Seymour Hoffman.
This is
though.
fine. Yeah.
Now, I will put this question out to the universe, and you guys can have it. This is the official question of the day for us here on The Good Brothers, something new that we're doing. Which trilogy is better? Die Hard, the first 3, or the first 3 Lethal Weapons. You let us know wherever you get your wherever you find us all over social media. No, we don't, Alex. Please stop interrupting me while I plug us and make sure our loving fans follow us all over social media, because I want to know, damn it, which ones you guys like more, because I have my answer and mine is the correct one. And Alex's is the wrong one. It's definitely Lethal Weapon.
Cool. It's definitely Lethal Weapon.
But I do love Die Hard Part 1.
Die Hard 1 is great.
This is why it's a great conversation. Alex, we did also have an awesome conversation that happened on PBS, good brother. And you know what that is? Can you want to take a guess? A show that was very instrumental in a lot of people growing up. Want to take a guess at what PBS show that is?
Arthur.
You want to know what happened on that show?
I do, actually. And I'm very happy because... I mean, you go ahead and go ahead.
Mr. Ratburn came out as a gay man and got married.
My gator was totally on as a kid. We knew he was.
He's gay, and in the season premiere, he had a wedding.
I think it's great. And as a person who coaches a lot of young men now, honestly, where it's like I like it. Like a show like this should be teaching. I think Sesame Street, PBS in general, does such a good job of teaching us about autism, about social disorders, about terrorism, even about murder, about crime. And now about equal rights, basically.
Right.
And you know, Arthur's always been touching on it. Like, after 9/11, they did the school fire. And they've done Rich and Poor, even. Or Francine's dad losing his job. Or great Christmas episodes. They've done divorce. Like, you know, as much as we joke on this show, I'll give it. Like, if I had a child, I would love him to watch Arthur.
Sure.
Because Arthur does do a lot. And we watch it as kids, too.
Love Arthur.
And obviously, like, things are a little different nowadays. I like how they developed with it. I like that they're not afraid to do that, because you know you're going to get outcry of it. But nowadays, I'm happy we live in a time you'll get more praise for it.
And it didn't get crushed. It didn't really get through the ringer.
Because we live in a good time where it's like, that's going to get praised. Dude, hey, you're against gay marriage? Okay, that's it's like really 2000s of you, bro. Yeah. Like, very PC. And I appreciate that part of the PC culture where that we should be PC about that. Like, that's cool. Like, that is no big deal anymore.
And I totally agree. And it was cool to see that on the season premiere of Arthur. But good brother, we are in the season finale season, not just the series finale that was Game of Thrones.
Only one that counts.
What have you been watching other than GOTS? Have you been watching anything else that was ending either this week and the last week or this coming up week?
You know, I'll be honest, no. A lot of my viewing this season has been, because I'm like, Walking Dead gets my attention and Better Call Saul, but they're on different seasons. I'll be honest. Once I gave up the CW because I just couldn't do it anymore, it was too much commitment. I don't have any season finales right now. But like, I feel like it's a lot of the CW. Am I correct? Like that's like the superhero franchise. Which again, you're a franchise with 5 shows. You're very successful. That's good.
The Flash.
You're big news.
The Flash, Arrow, and now this.
Was it a speedster again?
So The Flash, spoiler alert, I actually think the Flash was one of the best episodes of the series. I think the season kind of had like a weird drop off. The last like 5 episodes have been really weird. But this was kind of one that went back to the roots. So I'll go ahead and spoil it for you because
I won't be mad at spoilers. I want to hear it's good so I can watch.
Your favorite bad guy was Thawne, just like me. Reverse Flash is the best. It ends up being that this whole plant with Cicada and everything that had to do with the metahumans and everything had to deal with the fact that Thawne's only reason his powers were gone were because of the dagger. It was used to drain his power. So if in the past it destroyed the dagger, it's destroyed in the future, and he's able to
come back to life. And
the reason why he sends Nora back there is that's how he can guarantee it can happen, and a new Cicada is created. And because that happens, Nora disappears. She dies.
So she doesn't exist.
She doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, they were ballsy of them.
And there's a scene where Barry, Iris, and her are all hugging, and she gets dusted. And they actually tease that earlier in the episode because that's what happens to Cicada. Yeah. They rescue her little girl version of her and tell her, like, you could change, and she gets dusted as well. And they legit let her go. And Barry basically tells you, like, he took another one from me. Thawne took another one from me, and Thawne gets away. Because he basically, she makes the choice. She's like, you could go to the negative force, or she could disappear. And she chose to disappear because she didn't want to be like Thawne. Yeah. And it kind of goes back to the roots of this episode. I don't know if the next season is going to be
stakes, it seems like. You sold me on it had stakes again. It wasn't just, we can timeline her back. No, you're like, I feel like she's gone.
She's gone. Now, they might, because at the very end of the episode, she has a recording. And she left it for them because she had a journal. And the tease of the end of the season is that Crisis has been moved up. because they said it was in 2027 or something. But obviously because Crisis is coming up next season, and we know Arrow is ending, and this is kind of how everything's going to be put together. The storyline they pushed up.
I probably should catch up by next. Do I have till next year to catch up?
Yeah, Crisis is going to be. Crisis is going to
Which
be.
one's Crisis? Like, because I feel
Crisis
like
is the one that Barry's supposed to die, where he goes to the anti-monitor and he goes backwards. And then ends up being
maybe the last season.
No, I think Flash will go about 2 more seasons before it ends. I think it has about 2 more seasons, but to me again, it just for anybody who thinks like, wow, they're talking about the Flash's ways. This was again one of those first shows when Alex and I first really got into movie pundits, television pundits. This was one of the first shows on top of Arrow that really started becoming part of the zeitgeist.
Let's be honest, dude, the first 2 seasons of Flash are probably the best superhero television that's ever been.
Netflix,
but even including Netflix, like I would argue Flash 1 and 2 against Daredevil 1 and 2.
We had that conversation.
Where they're different. One's HBO, one's AMC.
Yeah.
But you're like, I'm still getting Breaking Bad couldn't go as far as The Wire.
Yeah.
Doesn't make them any less. I felt that's the argument here, where Flash season 1 and 2 it revolutionized. It got you shows like Black Lightning, The Legend of Tomorrow. It rebuilt Arrow.
You want to know what it is about shows, especially that whole CW slate, is let's say they have 22 episodes and let's say 12 of them, 10 of them are good. The problem with the 12 and 10 that are good is that they're so damn good they keep you hooked onto them because the cast is so good. They've been together so long. There's so much chemistry.
Yeah.
You love these characters. These characters have been taken care of for the most part in this universe compared to some other, shows that just didn't care. Like Gotham, say what you will. Some people think that it kind of did weird things with its characters.
What's weird about, let's talk about Gotham for a second. We're on the superhero shows and it just had series finale. Gotham's going to go down as one of those weird shows that I think is going to have a cult following down the years where people are going to be like, it's a cult show for sure. Where I'm like, I want to watch again because I feel like it's so bad, but like there's something charming about. But
you want to know something is? I stopped watching after season 2.
I don't think we made it.
And here's the thing, I know everything that happened because I was still so interested.
I was like, shit, they're getting the Joker in here. Shit, wait, he's actually Batman.
Is that how Bane looks?
He gets a mustache.
And then obviously, like, I had to see how they did it. I had to see how he looked.
And what's funny is like you didn't necessarily stick the landing, but like. You didn't fuck up completely.
No, because they did one television Batman that looked kind of doofusy where they never showed him and it was always like quick cuts.
Yeah.
Like, well, no, they showed the cape and cowl.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
And I love it because I think we're getting to the point where really soon we're going to get that Batman show.
I don't think so. Look,
no, I do. Because 20 years ago, maybe not for a while, 20 years ago, you told me we're not going to get a reboot to Batman franchise. Then 10 years ago, you're like, we'll never see him on TV. We've seen him on TV 3 times.
Let me ask you this.
And we have a Batgirl TV series coming. Batwoman. In 7 to 10 years, you're kidding me if you tell me that someone, HBO that has Watchmen now, will not say we're going to do the Dark Knight series.
I think
Come on, dude.
You got me excited, and they're doing a Star Wars series now. We're doing Marvel series now. But here's the question. That is Disney. I think Warner Brothers doesn't have the same ammunition that Disney has. They have great. They're literally the only next competition that has the same. Warner Brothers has the same type of ammunition that Disney has. But I think no matter how big Disney gets, they don't have Batman.
That I was gonna say. Marvel has more guns,
but they don't have
the nuke.
Because
Batman is the nuke.
So to me, it's like you don't use the nuke on television. That nuke is we need $1.2 billion. Alex, go make me Batman.
5-7 years on HBO, 8 parts. We're doing 1 season. Game of Thrones is a thing.
That, to me, is one of the most beautiful questions we've ever asked on this show is, what's going to happen to Batman, and is it time for him to be on television?
Yes.
I want to know from the audience, do you guys think that the movie company is going to save that nuclear weapon for television, or do they only use it for the movies? I think it's interesting. I think you can make an argument for both.
We passed Avengers now, so at this point, you're like, well, Disney's going to have to reload for a little bit. This is kind of our chance to drop that nuke while they're reloading.
No, totally. And good brother, I also want to talk a little bit about Disney's big movie that is coming out, something that I was very excited for until I saw a preview of basically the entire movie during the NBA playoffs. Even though I've seen the entire movie, I do like a little tease. I do like. Here's why we're talking about Aladdin, and we'll get into why we're talking about Aladdin in a second. But so we saw the trailer during the Western Conference semifinals, and obviously we've seen the entire movie, so I know what the movie is. Just like Lion King. What I do want to kind of be surprised, like, how are they going to make Jafar? Let me see Jafar's junior version when I get to the theater. Yeah. Let me see a whole new world when I get to the movie theater. I know it's going to be there. I don't need to see it now. I want that sense of wonder still.
The problem. You do know that. I think some people that look at this movie, they need to know that this is just a shot-for-shot, basically, remake. I love it. I'm so excited.
Can we get into?
I finally saw the Prince Ali song. And for those people talking bad about it, you're just looking at this point because I thought it was for a live action. Like I love the Jungle Book, dude. That's easy. It's animals only. I love, the Lion King. It's animals only. This is the first they're trying that you have to have humans,
Did you
magic.
Like Cinderella?
No.
Did you like Maleficent?
Never seen it. I like Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
I actually really did like it.
And
those are the ones I think people have to accept. Like you're not going to score as high with the live action. Non-animal ones.
Before I forget it, put a tab into that real fast. Maleficent's trailer just came. But continue. You were saying.
So my problem is people always expect the same.
Sure.
And it's like no, the Lion Kings, your Jungle Books, compared to your Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin's, it's going to be a little weird because it's just impossible to add human characters to the things they're going to do and be realistic. I thought it looked great. The ostriches, the Will Smith singing, the elephant, Abu. Like I'm so excited and. I'll be honest, you did need a whole new world in that trailer. Sure. You did need it because they have to throw everything at this because they're like, you have to want to be excited. I think you need to go into it, Mike, like kind of like a Greatest Showman where it's supposed to be fun. I think maybe we're like the cartoon was an Oscar-worthy movie to me. This one's not going to be that.
That's not my problem. My problem is we'll get into it. The studio thinks this movie sucks. And the
studio does it. Everyone told them they do. Like, it's not the studio, though. Okay, I guess the studio thinks what we tell them to think. People have already judged this movie. Let's be honest. It probably might kind of suck.
The studio's embargo for this movie comes out the day before the movie is released. The critic screening comes out 2 days before this movie comes out. So typically, Alex, we've been doing this podcast for a lifetime. You consider yourself a professional. All that you just said, all that rhetoric. Those two things typically 90% mean what about a film?
In most cases, that means the film's bad. In a case where it's a high property, though, because Disney's done this before.
Where? When has Disney ever done this? Because every
Dumbo.
Avengers. Yeah, because it sucked. Then Dumbo gets a bad Rotten Tomato score. It's got bad reviews.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like it went in with a negative intake. I feel like you're right. I'm not arguing your point. I'm saying my thing is like it's kind of weird because. The movies that are like this is the studios aren't dumb. They have to listen to the internet. We may not have to listen to Twitter. They do because that's the audience. So when you hear all this negative going into it, it's like fans can bury a movie. And the point is, you got to hope that people will watch it enough. Like Dumbo still made money for them.
Critics don't bury movies.
I don't think critics bury movies, but you have to also go. If you're Disney, you do have to go in with your hands up just in case.
I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying though is. Disney is one of these companies, and we've been in there long enough, and we know pundits long enough to know Disney loves early access, big reviews, big hype, talk about our films 3 weeks before it comes out. The fact that it's fourth biggest property of the year, something they anticipated for the last 4 years, is coming out, and they're telling us there's no reviews, and only the only buzz that is out about this movie is negative. You and I have been doing this long enough to know what this means. And here's the thing too, we kind of called it when the marketing for Lion King came out because we're like, oh my god, the difference between the energy of Lion King to Aladdin.
I think it comes down to this. Then I don't think we're ready for these live action human movies. I think then you do put a pause on Mulan and these other ones because they're just not. It's not what we want. I guess it's what I want.
Yeah,
and that's why it's frustrating. It's because it's like these movies is doomed to fail.
And
that's why you and me are kind of hoping that it's going to be that one rare one that we talk about next year. Like, holy shit, they broke all the rules. And that's a complete possible bet. And if we were betting right now, like we can bet on the show right now. I think it's going to be a reverse. I think people are going to love it and it makes money.
Over under 67% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Over.
I'm going to go under 67% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'll be close if it is, I think.
I will say this, though. This is what I said, the argument about why I am more interested in Aladdin than to Lion King. It's the same reason between Red Dead Redemption and God of War. It is the fact that Aladdin had more things to go against it.
You want to see it. You're like, I want to see how they did it.
I want to. Guy Ritchie.
Show me Prince Ali. That, and you know what? That's the bigger sign. It's like we've not heard Guy Ritchie's name at all.
Guy Ritchie's. And you and I know, and the minute, and you know what? Your face, I wish we were on video. We're working on all that. But your face, the minute I even mentioned Guy Ritchie, you're like, oh shit, it's Guy Ritchie.
But here's my
because we've heard John Favor for the last 7 years at Marvel.
No, yeah. And I totally forgot because they've done a great job of not reminding us. Like I said, it could be one of those moments where we're like, well, we were all wrong. Yeah. And that can break the internet. Or it could be, we were right, Will Smith was badly cast. It's going to be like, if it's negative, you know it's going to be. Bad cast, bad directing, great visuals.
No, totally.
Hey, basically, Disney, you did your job, but everyone fucking sucks around here.
Now, Alex, why don't we go ahead and stick with Disney a little bit? You know, you and I are excited for Aladdin. We'll check it out. You and I are going to go in. Yeah. But let's go into Disney Plus a little bit because we just found out that after this whole deal had went through, Disney has bought out the rest of the stakes from Comcast for Hulu. Now, for a little backstory, Comcast will be coming out with their own streaming service. Some of it's going to be free, so it's interesting, and we'll keep our eye on that. But now Disney is going to have Disney Plus. But Bob Iger has also mentioned the fact that Hulu will be kind of part of their properties that they don't want necessarily to be put on the Disney Plus brand. Yeah. So let's say a Deadpool. Let's say a property like Deadpool. Not necessarily Deadpool itself because I think it's too comic booky that they will want it.
Even like a show like Handmaid's Tale, like we want the Handmaid's Tale. Yes. We want Kimmy Schmidt. We don't want it to be Disney.
Yes.
Because like our house is kind of nice.
It's kind of like Touchstone.
Like it's very smart to be like, we're going to leave our adult, our super adult section over there if you want it. We just can't put the ears behind Handmaid's Tale. There's a lot of rape in that.
Yeah, so that's what we're seeing right now is Disney has been hedging their bets and definitely been this is billionaire stuff that it's so much bigger than any of us ever think. But what you're basically hearing is Disney and Comcast are just posturing themselves to be in better positions for what's going to be down the road in about 3 to 4 years.
Smart.
And we also found out officially, the Good Brother had been mentioning this to me a little while back, but it is official that the Simpsons will be fully on Disney Plus, including their movie. And Alex, I want to know really fast because we have two big things we have to talk about. But before we get out of here, do we get a Simpsons 2? You think now that it's on Disney? Okay, so you think that's how it's going to end, right?
It'll be Disney Plus.
Okay.
Special.
And also, that's interesting. You think that'll be one of the ways they sell it is to put it on Disney Plus?
Maybe.
Stream Simpsons 2.
Do you think? Okay, you know what? I'll be honest. Because in my head, I thought Simpsons wouldn't sell. A Simpsons series finale movie will sell.
Yeah, for sure.
Will sell.
Well, it'll bring everybody back.
It will.
It'll bring everybody back.
It's almost like Avengers 1 money.
Yeah. No, I agree. So we have all that going on there. So we'll keep our eye on exactly what happens with Aladdin. Hopefully, you and I get some early access stuff. If not, we'll be there opening weekend to check out Aladdin, and we will definitely keep our eyes on everything that is going on with Disney. But good brother, we also found out some stuff in television world as we were talking about season premieres and series finales. We found out that Rick and Morty has been announced for season 4. Will be coming out by the end of 2019, the later part of 2019.
Yeah, the third fourth.
So that's going to be really fun to see. You and I literally spent 10 minutes before we started recording just gushing about Rick and Morty. So excited for Rick and Morty to come back. I have a question for you, though. Rick and Morty, out of all the shows that are out on, not just Adult Swim, but let's just say everything that is in Netflix, like Big Mouth or anything like that, what show do you really kind of love that's part of that? It has its own little niche. Yeah, it's interesting because it is so niche, but there's so many of them. Like, are you still?
It's not niche anymore. That's why when you're selling
like, is still South Park your number one, or is Rick and Morty your number one?
Rick and Morty, then South Park.
Interesting. Where's Big Mouth land?
It's up there.
Yeah.
I've seen you have the Simpsons, your Family Guys, your King of the Hill.
Would you consider Simpsons, Family Guy, King of the Hill part of that group?
Yeah, of course.
King of the Hill much more than...
Because you got to have longevity. Like, I think like a show like American Dad kind of lost a little edge toward the end, and that's not on the list as high as you would say it's Simpsons because longevity. King of the Hill, longevity. You know, like Family Guy, give what it is. Like, there's a lot of it.
Sure.
And they do go crude sometimes, and that's appreciated. Like, you trust them still, regardless.
No, it's very interesting, and it's interesting that's kind of the realm you went down.
But no, Rick and Morty I think Rick and Morty just for being the best and the smartest.
Robot Chicken?
And South Park, no, that's just crude at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
I do appreciate their specials. They do bring the celebrities in.
They do make some great specials.
I hate 15-minute things. It upsets me.
Interesting. Okay,
I have too much attention.
We'll do an Adult Swim Tsunami episode one of these days. But good brother, you and I love sports and entertainment. We've had on some of the greatest that have ever been part of the business on this very network. And today it was made official. AEW and TNT have partnered up to bring us the new home of All Elite Wrestling this fall on TNT. Good, brother, for two 90s kids that were 8 and 7 years old during the Attitude Era, during the highlights of the NWO, DX, and everything in between. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Goldberg, The Rock, Sting. We are at a point
actor?
now. Yeah, right. The singer?
The singer?
We are here now where we have two legit wrestling companies. Obviously, one is the biggest in the world, biggest ever, biggest for all time.
Always will be big.
And on Fox and USA. But now we have a legit television show going to TNT now. At the very least, a real network. A network that is at almost every household and every basic cable package. What are your
as
initial
much
thoughts?
as USA went.
Right.
Fox.
What are your initial thoughts, though? And here's the thing, too. What we see with WWE, they're going to be promoted during NFL, during baseball.
The
TNT's
XFL's on Fox.
Yeah, we're going to also see, though, TNT during basketball because it's its highest rated thing is the basketball
It's crazy.
going to be promoted.
It really is. I think any young man like us can appreciate when this era of the Monday Night Wars was on. Because at one point, we're old enough to know that every one of us was a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
You and me kind of do it more for work now, and that's just because what some listeners like. And we still respect wrestling and love wrestling because it's part of our childhood. We grew up on it. But it's not what it used to be, obviously. This is exciting because you haven't seen a company on a major network like this since. TNT did for a little bit. They didn't have a backing, though. It looked bad. TNA, sorry.
Yeah, Impact.
So now to see Impact, it went down.
Yeah.
You see AEW, you're flipping your channels. USA, TNT are not that far apart. It's crazy that you're going to see a non-WWE company on such a big network. You already see in different countries, Ryan Sands showed, NXT's already on Fox Sports, Deportes.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting because as much as AEW, I'm impressed. You're like, WWE also said, we're basically going to be a big deal at Fox.
Wherever we want it.
And guess what? Like, people are, like, you're advertising football games. That's huge.
Yeah.
People are going to see these stars. Like, you're going to see Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, way more than you already have. Like, it's crazy where we are right now with wrestling. It's going to be the, what do you call it? Like, we already did the golden age, platinum age. Like, this is going to be, you know, like a, I guess
this is the Renaissance.
The Renaissance. We can call it the Renaissance.
Yeah,
I think this is leading to the Renaissance of wrestling.
So it's interesting that you say that you put it that way. I'm interested just to kind of see what the production and the writing for both companies becomes. Yeah, you got the cons that are behind it. You have obviously the Warner Turner stuff with TNT. So
like two big powers joining in. Like it's all setting up.
And then obviously on the other side you have the McMahons. You have everything that's going with Alpha Media. You have Fox. You have USA, which is essentially Comcast. So there's a lot going on. And the Fox executive basically said when they were talking about this, the deal with SmackDown, their initial thing is there's no off season. We always are going to get 2 million people every Friday night for SmackDown. That's what it is. Live content. That is, we literally spent an hour talking about stuff that's going to be on streaming services. But what's always going to be on live television? Live content. Sports.
24/7.
Always. So that's the thing. Like, it's interesting that we always talk about ratings, but ratings don't mean anything when you have live content.
It's live episodic content.
Yep.
Like, could you imagine if you had The Bachelor?
Yeah.
Think like that. The Bachelor.
365.
Shot in live.
52 weeks.
Every day.
52
like, every
weeks.
week. It's crazy to think about.
Yep.
Like, that's what they're doing.
For 6 hours. 52 weeks a year.
Even a regular season basketball game.
Well, it's interesting because that's what TNT, I think, is going to do. TNT obviously has Thursday night. They have a doubleheader. I think every once in a while they do Mondays for holidays, and they do Tuesday doubleheaders. So I think it's going to come down to Fridays or Wednesdays.
I think it'll be Wednesday. I think the rumor is that's where they were going to go.
Yeah, it just makes sense.
Wednesday because it's a free. They don't want to compete. Yeah. They're being smart. They're not going head to head right now. They're building up.
Yeah.
So they're saying we're going to go Wednesdays. Let's be honest, it's a slow sports week at that point.
Yeah.
Wednesday,
and during the basketball season, there's Wednesday basketball on ESPN, but there's always basketball.
Yeah, that's like no matter what, you're not going to avoid it. That's
and then
better than
football season. You're not going against
Monday Night Football
or Thursday Night Football.
You're not going against SmackDown for a little bit. You're not on Friday against
Fox
Raw or Fox SmackDown. So it's smart. It's very smart. 2-hour show, I believe they said.
Who's their first heavyweight champion? You think?
It's got to be Chris Jericho, right? It's got to be big.
Well, I think the title match is Cody and Goldust.
No, wasn't it Pac and Hangman, right?
No, I think that's for his title. All right, I'll look at it right now. It's Double or Nothing, right?
Yeah.
Double.
It's next week.
Yeah, it is already next week. Did you think that when All In came in that was going to be their only thing, or did you for sure
No,
think
I knew
that
something else. That thing was too big. Everyone was talking about that, dude.
Well, it's interesting that it's Cody Rhodes, too. It's the son of Dusty that is really putting this other young bud, Kenny. I love that they said that we're more than a T-shirt company now. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I am looking at it right now. So, you know what? We're going to do this. To end this show, we'll have a little bit of fun for all you wrestling nerds. Why don't we go to Double or Nothing, and we'll go through the matches that are on Wikipedia, and then we'll go to Money in the Bank, and then we'll go home, Alex, to get ready for the last episode of Game of Thrones. How about we start in AEW's Double or Nothing? We'll go best friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta versus Angelico and Jack Evans. Best friends. We'll go to the main ones. The Young Bucks, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, the champions, versus the Lucha Bros, Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix for the AAA World Tag Team Championships. Who do you got?
Lucha Bros.
I got the Young Bucks because I think they're going to be working there, obviously. How about Cody versus Dustin?
Cody.
How about Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose versus Kylie Ray? Kylie Ray. I'm going to go with Britt. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho.
Kenny Omega.
Chris Jericho. SoCal Uncensored versus Sema, T-Hawk, and El Lidman. SoCal. Hangman versus Pac. It doesn't say it's for a championship, but you know what? We're going to call that the championship match. Hangman. Yeah.
Hangman.
Yeah. But you know what? It's very interesting.
They've been building up the boy for a while.
Not a strong card. I'm going to be honest with you. Not a strong card.
But I think it's going to be nice. I like that they didn't go for lame. Yeah. And they didn't throw everyone on there because I think they're real confident in this one.
If you have Dean Ambrose...
And then the Battle Royal will be there, too.
The over the budget. If you have Dean Ambrose, a.k.a. John Moxley now, do you save him for Double or Nothing, or do you save him for the first AEW?
You have him come out Double or Nothing and attack Chris Jericho or Kenny Omega. And he's right in the title picture.
Right for the first episode that you have on TNT?
Yes.
Or do you have the Lex Luger moment and everybody has to tweet, holy shit, John Moxley just showed up on TNT? What do you do? That's what I'm saying.
Put him at Double or Nothing because you need the announcement.
You know people are for sure going to watch
And then the next time you see him is, like, if you want to see Dean Ambrose wrestle again, how he's going to approach Kenny Omega.
For sure. That's a good point. All right, good brother. Let's go into the WWE Universe. Money in the Bank. In the pre-show, Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus the Usos in a tag team match for not for the titles. Who wins?
Oh, that's so dumb.
The Usos because it's not for the title.
Yeah.
All right. How about for the Cruiserweight Championship? It's Tony Nese versus Arya Daivari.
Tony Nese.
Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship.
Samoa Joe.
I'll go Samoa Joe because Dominic turns on Rey. How about for the WWE Championship? Kofi Kingston versus Kevin Owens.
Kofi.
I'll go Kofi as well. In a steel cage match, it is The Miz versus Shane McMahon.
Probably Shane because he gets thrown over or something.
I'll go Miz because they need to even up the series. How about this for the first of her 2 title fights? It is for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair.
I think Becky wins both.
Okay, so she's going to win both?
She'll win both.
You know what? I'll say she wins both.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're ready to do anything.
Some effort will happen, though. But
Roman Reigns versus Elias. Roman Reigns. Natalya, Dana Brooke, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Mandy Rose, Ember Moon, and Carmella for the women's briefcase in the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Bayley.
I am going to go with Bayley is a good choice, good brother. Bayley is a really good choice. Alexa Bliss already won. I'm going to go Bayley because that's her heel turn. All right, I'll go Bayley. I'm with you. Yeah. How about Sami Zayn, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Ali, Finn Balor, Andrade, and Randy Orton for the men's Money in the Bank contract?
I think Drew.
It's between Drew or Sammy, but since Sammy had a big moment against Braun, and Ricochet had his own moment grabbing the contract, and because Baron Corbin, obviously he's not going to win. Finn Balor has the Intercontinental. It's between Randy, Andrade, and Drew.
I could give it to Randy too, though.
Randy's been the only consistent one,
but Drew's your next one, and he can fight Seth
The
Rollins. Real
question becomes, who do you see holding the championship next? And it's Drew McIntyre.
It's Drew.
Yeah.
But I could see him also be like, maybe Randy Orton should go.
But we'll go Drew just for the sake of it.
And he'll take out Kofi just for fun.
How about Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles? Seth Rollins, that's going to be a good match. Yeah. And Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans. You and I both agree.
Is that the main event?
That's what they built.
Here's my thing, though. If that's the main event, then she's going to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. Charlotte's going to come out, interfere. Lacey's going to win the Raw Women's Championship.
I think
if anyone wins it, Raw will change titles.
Well, we know that Seth and Becky came out as a couple, so I wonder if they're going to try to appease them and keep them together on the road, which would mean that her storyline would need to stay on Raw, which means Lacey would have to win.
But they do the wild card rule now, remember?
Sure, but I don't think Charlotte.
At times they're either home or.
But I don't think Charlotte as a champion is going to go to Raw. I think
Charlotte won't be the champion. Becky's the SmackDown champion. I'm saying.
I get that, but what I'm saying though is, other than that, like that they let Lacey wins it and she keeps the other one. I think they're better off just putting the other one away already.
Let her have the two bouts.
Or just let her have one of the two and stick to that show. Yeah. And I just think there's more shows to be done.
You think she'll be on Raw more?
Because I think all the storylines for her now are over there.
They're going to move a lot of these superstars to SmackDown eventually.
No, I get it. But that is it, good brother. That is Money in the Bank. And that is the show. Are you ready to find out who sits on the Iron Throne?
Probably me.
All right. It's definitely not you because I'm going to make sure your head gets cut off, you betrayer. Good brother, thank you so much for joining us. Any last words?
Last words.
My man, we will see you
my
for our reactions of the series finale of Game of Thrones. For the good brother himself, Alex Mercado, I'm Mike Mercado. We'll see you on the next episode of The Good Brothers when we find out how the series finale all wrapped it up of Game of Thrones. See you next time, guys.
Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves. Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airwaves crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado2121, Mike is at Mike Mercado2333, and our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado21Alex, and Mike is at MMercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airwaves. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcast, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airwaves by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox. Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airwaves crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado2121, Mike is at Mike Mercado2333, and our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado21Alex, and Mike is at MMercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airwaves. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcast, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airwaves by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson.
Another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones.
Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.